Hey, what's up, comrades? Hope everyone's doing great this morning. We're here to follow up with Volume 4 of Fairy Tail, the manga. And we pick up at the end of Volume 3. Our dear departed Urza Scarlet was called to face judgment from the Council of Mages. And we get a little bit with our old boy Sigrin talking about council members and just kind of whatnot. And then we have a little fire lizard on the countertop back at Fairy Tail. And Mary Jane is talking, and it's apparently they turn Natsu into a little lizard. And then we're like, hey, you're going to stay there so that you don't go try to rescue Urza and cause a lot of problems. And everyone looks kind of sad eponymous at Fairy Tail. There's some conversation about that. There's also some conversation about what's going on with all that business. And how, like, we just need to let Urza go and face trial and that it's all going to be okay and yada, yada, yada. Then we head over to the council and we see Urza kind of being led along in chains by our little toady friend. And then she runs into Sigrin and she's like, it's you! And he's like, hello! She's like, I will fucking kill you right now. And he's like, that'd be great, but this is actually projection and you can't. I just want to make sure you're not going to say shit about shit. And she's like, don't worry about it. And he's like, good. And he like fades off and then the toad is like all bowed over and hunched and he's like, oh, that was so scary. Something. And she's like, whatever, let's go. And so we also find out that all the wizard council or whatever, they're in their projection form as well. So that everybody's they're all too, this is like not an important enough matter for anybody to like show up and be a part of. At this point, Urza goes before the council and they start, telling her all the charges and whatnot. And she just is looking defiant and being cool Urza stuff. We head back over to Fairy Tail and at some point, the master's like, you're pretty quiet, Natsu. And everyone like looks over at the jar and the lizard's like, huh. And we find out that dun-da-da, it's not Natsu at all. That it's our old boy, Rook? I can't remember his name. He's the guy they rescued who was transformed into like the gorilla sex monster or whatever. It's that guy. And we find out that he felt like he owed Natsu a favor for saving him. And so he went ahead and was like, I'll take your place so you can go rescue Urza. And so he got transformed into like a newt or whatever and then put in the cage. And then they bring him out and he's like, aha, sorry, my bad. And then the master's like, wait a second. If you're here, that means Natsu's. Uh-oh. So back to the council chamber we go, where he shows up and he's all dressed up, pretending to be Urza, and he's like, aha, I am here, I am the guilty one, that is a fake Urza Scarlet. And Urza's like, the fuck are you doing? Get out of here. And the council's like, what the hell's going on? And there's a whole thing, and then Natsu's like, sets the whole place on fire, and they get dragged off to jail. And at that point, Nats and everyone in Fairy Tail gets the word that this was just a show trial because the people in the world have to see, the council has to be like, hey, we got control over this. If there's an issue, we'll take care of it and whatnot. And so the fact that there was so much destruction done by Fairy Tail, Urza was going to go as a scapegoat for the whole guild. And then she was going to be charged as guilty. And then they were going to just like not do anything. She was charged as guilty so that they could report like, oh, a top member of Fairy Tail was brought in and she was charged. And so now, everyone can be happy that, the Wizards Council is keeping order within the mages of Fioria. And Natsu's like, oh, and then she like slams him. A little bit later goes by and they're back in the Fairy Tail Guild and Urza's still looking pissed off. And Natsu's like getting heated about the fight. He's like, we got to finish our fight. And then Urza's like, I'm literally not in the mood. And he's like, we're doing this right now. And she's like, fine. And then she hits him with this giant hammer so hard he flies against the back wall and is knocked unconscious. And everyone's like, damn! Like, that was it. That was too easy. She just demolished that guy. And at that point, everyone starts to kind of fall asleep. And someone is like, oh, I know what this is. And then they fall asleep and everyone's asleep. And at that point, this guy, Mystigan, rolls in and he takes a quest from the board, and then the master, Makarov, who's just watching him, is like, you really don't have to put everyone to sleep every time you come do this. And Mr. Gun's like, I have to. And then he leaves, and as he leaves, everyone gets woken up, and they're like, God damn it, that Mr. Gun came by again. He put everyone to sleep. He's like, who's Mr. Gun? Mr. Gun is one of the top members of the guild. He's one of the strongest members of the guild. He's S-class and all this stuff. And at that point, we also meet Laxus. Laxus is the grandson of Makarov. I don't think that comes up right. No, that doesn't come up right now, but that comes up later. Anyway, so he claims to be the strongest member of the guild, even over the old man, who's, the mysterious old man, and that he's like a top tier as well. He's also S class, and that Natsu. Someone said something about Natsu being able to go to the second floor, or like none of you can go to the second floor, so don't worry about it. I think Mary Jane says it to. Why did her name slip my mind? To Lucy. What's wrong with me? So, because Lucy's like, why? What's up there? And it's like, oh, there's an S class board. So the S class are so powerful. You have to like pass a test that Makarov gives before you can even like pretend to go up there and get quests. And they're like death defying and soul destroying and all this stuff. And so only Laxus, Urza, and Mystagon, and then like the old man can go up there and get quests, and everyone else cannot. So it's there for their protection. And then Lucy gets like she like draws out the hierarchy. So there's like Makarov, then the mystery old man, and then the Urza, Mystagon, and Laxus, and then her, Gray, and Natsu, and then Happy, and then under them is everyone else. And Happy's like, that's not how that works. You're like, really think highly of yourself. Anyway, later on, she's going back to her home to like go to sleep and rest. And when she gets in there, of course, Natsu and Happy are in there working out because they're getting ready to do an S-class quest. And she's like, you guys are ridiculous. And like, no, Happy snuck up there earlier today and like got one. And she's like, what? Go put that back right now. It's like, no, you're going to help us do it. She's like, no, get out of here. And they're like, fine, we'll go get our 7 million jewel reward without you. And you're just going to have to suck it up. And so they jump out the window and she's like, oh my gosh, you guys are so annoying. And then she finds the guild request, the quest request, and she sees that one of the rewards is a golden key, and she's like, ooh. And so she's like, wait, I'm coming. And so they all head off to this cursed island, the cursed island of Garula. And they're gone for a little bit, and then the next day, Laxus mentions to Makarov that there was a cat burglar that stole one of the S-class quests, and everyone's like, must have been Happy. And it's like, oh no, where's Natsu and Lucy? It's like, oh no, they all want to do this quest. And Makarov's like freaking out, and he's like, Laxus, you have to go help them. And he's like, nah, I'm busy, I got shit to do. And he's like, no, you must go. Something. And he's like, nah, I'm good. And then Gray's like, I'll go and bring him back. And they're like, okay, good. And so then we head over to the port town right before they head off to the island. And it's the port town from the first, like the very beginning, where Natsu and Lucy met. And they're all kind of getting ready to go and trying to find someone to take them over to the cursed island, but like no one will take them to the cursed island. They're like, fuck that island. No, absolutely not. And so they're running a bit out of ideas about what to do when Gray shows up and he grabs them and he's like, all right, I'm taking you guys back. And they're like, hell no, we're not going. You should come with us. And he's like, no, if we don't go back, they're going to send Urza or something. And it's like, oh no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to deal with that bullshit. We're going. And then this guy who's sitting in like a boat nearby named Bobo is like, wait, you want to go to the island? I'll take you to the island. And they're like, Nani desu ka? Because Natsu keeps talking about swimming to the island. Anyway, so right as they're about, and then Gray's like, no, we can't go, something. And so Natsu like knocks him out and they drag him onto the boat and they all head off. And then while they're going out, they're kind of talking to this guy, but like, so what's the curse? And it's like, oh, it's the curse of the Demon Island. Why is it called the Demon Island? And then the moon comes up and he holds out his arm and his arm's all demony. And they're like, whoa! And they're like, yeah, so there's like a curse on the island that, because of that, when the moon comes out, something island, part two where he's going to be turned into a demon, but then as like time goes by, when the moon comes out, you'll turn into a demon. And they're like, oh, that's so crazy. We got to be careful. We don't get turned into demons and something. And they're like, hey, Bobo. And then he's just gone. And they're like, ah! And then there's like a little storm or something. Like the boat gets capsized and they all roll out. And then they like wake up on the island, just kind of like, oh, what the fuck's going on? And so they start wandering around a bit. And eventually they find the village because the elder of the village is the one who put like the guild request out. And so they find them. And they head in, and everyone there has like a demon arm or a demon something. And they're like, wow, something. And they're like, oh yeah, so we were here and everything was fine. And then the moon, and now we get turned into demons during the moonlight. And sometimes people like lose their minds and fully convert over to like the demon ways. And when they do that, we have to like kill them so they don't like harm the village or don't do anything crazy. And I had to kill my own son. And here's a picture of him, and it's Bobo. Oh my goodness, it was a ghost. It was Ghost Bobo. He came and got them to help the island. And they're like, oh goodness. And they're like, okay, well, we're going to go figure it out. And so they stay the night, and they're like chit-chatting about all that stuff. And in the morning, they head out. And while they're out there, they find this giant rat monster. And they're like, oh my goodness. And so they fight and beat up that guy. And then at that point they find this ruins. There's ruins of the moon, and they go in there and they're looking around, and Natsu like stomps on the floor, and it opens up, and they all fall down into this cavern. And when they get to the bottom of the cavern, they find I think its name is Delia or Delaria, and it's a giant monster. It's a giant demon that's encased in ice. And then we start to get some of Gray's background. So apparently, God, I wish I had the comic with me. The what's her name? Anyway, so his mentor, Ura. I think it's Ura. Yeah, I think it's Ura, like Reznov. Ura. So it's Ura. She is the ice master mage who taught Gray, and she sealed this the giant demon in like unmeltable ice that's like immune to fire, but it like cost her life. And Gray's still kind of broken up about it, and he's like, "Who would have brought this here? This is like way up north, and such and such. And like, why is it here? And what is going on?" And then they hear some noises, so they all hide. And that's when they see like Catface Man and this like unibrow wizard guy, and they're like, "I thought I heard something." And the unibrow guy's like super tired all the time. And there's like, "Oh, I don't know. I thought I heard something too. What's going on?" And they kind of wander around, and then this like girl in kind of like gothic bondage gear, or like a Lolita kind of gothic child's dress or whatever. She's like talking about how her love, and she does this her weird quirk is that when she refers to killing people or death, she calls it love. And so she's concerned because like her pet is like injured or dead or whatever. It's a shonen anime, so it's probably just injured. And like, so there must be intruders. And I'm like, "Oh shit, we gotta go find them, because if we don't find them, like the boss, like Reiki's gonna be super pissed off, and we can't have that." And they're like, "Ruh-roh." And so, you know, Fairy Tail guys, Lucy, Natsu, Gray, and Happy, they all hide, and they just kind of, the other guys meander off, like, "We should go get him." And it's like, no, I want to see what's going on with this thing. And so they kind of just wait, and then Lucy summons the harp lady, the celestial, I think it's Ariel, the celestial spirit of the harp, and she starts just playing them a song, and then it becomes like a real sad song, and Gray's like crying, and then Lucy points out that the celestial spirit plays the song, like reaches into your heart and plays the song just for you. And Gray's like, "I'm not crying, you're crying." Anyway, so they all take a napopotamus because they want to like wait till the moon comes out to kind of see what's going on with all this thing. And at some point, so that happens, and then the area they fell into like opens up, and then like purple moonlight comes spewing down onto the demon, and like, "What the fuck?" And so they all head upstairs, and there's like this crazy ceremony going on with these like robed figures, and then they see the three guys, and like, "I don't know, man, I'm like there's no one around, so they must have not the intruders must be gone, or it must have just been like our imagination, or something crazy happened or whatever. But we gotta tell Reiki, because he's gonna flip out." And then Reiki shows up, and he's like a big dude with like a mask, and he's got a big cape, and he's clearly the boss. And then he's like, they chat about that, and he's like, "Well, if we can't find them, like just keep an eye out. But we gotta get rid of all witnesses, because we're like using the moonlight to melt the ice, because the moon has so much magical power that if they can get drops of moonlight onto the ice, it will like dispel the magic. So you can't melt the ice, but you can dispel it. And like the moon, like the drops of moonlight or whatever are powerful enough. And they think like, and like the head priest or whatever like thinks that like if they do this like one or two more nights, it's gonna melt the ice. And then Reiki's like, "Good, that's what I want, perfect." And then that's when Fairy Tail like pulls their card, and they hop out, and like, "You're gonna stop, and you're not gonna do that anymore." Oh no, first of all, what happens first? Oh yeah, first of all, Reiki sends the three other people out to kill all the villagers, so that there's no witnesses and there's no one around, or to take care of the villagers. And so they head off to that, and then that's when Natsu and crew, they hop out and like, "No, you're gonna stop, you're not gonna do that, something. And then Reiki like throws off his mask, and Gray recognizes him because he's actually Janice, I think that's his name. And this more background. So Ura had two students. One was Gray and one was Janice, and they kind of fought, and they had like a frenemy relationship, a competitive rivalry to see who's gonna be the best. And the Janice guy, he like casts ice creation magic with just one hand, which is like unstable, but allows him to like create creations that like move, while Gray uses both hands like he's supposed to, so it's like stronger or something. They have like a whole conversation about, like a shonen conversation about like their different ice powers. Anyway, so Janice casts like a super ice spell, and then Gray like deflects it, and then he orders Happy to grab Lucy and take her to the village so that she can help the villagers defend themselves against the wizards. And so they head out. And at the same time, Natsu gets like frozen in ice, like a big ice ball, and gets knocked off the tower. And like Happy's and Lucy like want to go back and help, but they're like, they know we have to help the village, and like Natsu will be okay. And then we get a shot of Natsu, and he like rolls off this thing, and he's like in a big like a goofy ice ball, and he's like, oh fuck, I can't melt this because it's non-meltable ice. So he's like waddling around trying to figure out what to do. And then we get back to Gray and Janice, and they have like a shonen ice magic battle, and they're chatting about it and yada yada yada. And we learn that Gray is the reason why Ura got killed, because he apparently, even though it seems like it's not 100% spelled out here, but it appears as if Gray wanted to go defeat this demon, and so he went to do it. And Ura had to like save his life, and so because she had to sacrifice her life to save his life, to like seal the demon and all this stuff, that Janice blames him for killing their master. And then Gray's like, you can't do this. And then Janice's like plan is that he wants to prove, he always wanted to prove that he was better than Ura. And so his plan is to release the demon so that he can defeat the demon for good, and that'll prove that he was better than his master, or that he is better than his master. And Gray's like, you're a fucking lunatic, like, excuse me, something. And so their battle ends. This portion of the battle ends when Gray gets like slammed by like an ice dragon or something off the edge of the temple. And then Natsu grabs him, and he's like, come on, bro, I got you. And Gray's like, I'm sorry, I'm no better than you, because you know his thing at the beginning of this volume was that you're being irresponsible by running off doing an S-class quest. But then Gray the reason he feels so strongly about helping them and like not wanting them to go is because he did the same thing essentially. He went and tried to fight this demon when he was ill prepared, and that caused a lot of problems as well. And so he wanted to stop him, but he's just as guilty as Natsu. He's not any better. And Natsu's like, whatever, man. We're Fairy Tail. We never let anything get us down. We're going to fucking get up and get this fucking going, and we're going to take care of this. And then we go back to the village, and Lucy's like there with all the villagers ready to defend themselves. And then Happy's like, you think we got this? And Lucy's like, I don't know. It's 3 wizards, but we got a number. So, and then she's like, wait, I got a plan. And then we go out to the ocean, and there's like a ship with all the pirates like beat up, except for the captain who's like sailing the ship. And then Urza's there. And she looks pissed. So, and that's where we wrap up the story for Volume 4. Now, the Happy's tale, Happy takes a quest to like defeat a mouse, like a poisonous mouse, in like a house, so he can earn some like fish rewards or something. And he talked Lucy into coming with her. And so they're out there, and they're like, oh, it's just some dumb mouse. Let's just take care of this and get out of here. And then they open a door, and there's like hundreds of mice. And they slam the door and like, ruh-roh, and then the mice start chasing them, and they chase them around the house. And then Happy's like, I can't do anything. I don't know what to do. And Lucy's like, okay, I got my keys. And she doesn't have her keys. So it's like, no. And so, and then they're like, they lock themselves in a room, but then the mice start pushing poison and gas into the room. And then Happy's like, wait, I can fly. And so he takes off. And Lucy's like, wait, what about me? And then she like passes out. And thus, rest in peace, Lucy. Jeez. And goofy shit. So yep, there's Volume 4. It's good. It's nice to get some more info on Gray and his whole background, and establish everything else. Oh, at the beginning of each one of these chapters in this volume, they give you like a summation of characters and like their likes and dislikes and their heights and blood type and all the kind of like Japanese stuff. So it's interesting. So Lucy is 17 canonically. Natsu is question mark. Happy is 6, if I remember correctly. Gray is 18, and then Urza's only like 19. So, you know, it's the young people trope. People lead us. So Urza's like way older than Lucy by like 2 years, because Lucy's a teenager still. I guess they're all teenagers, yeah. And then Makarov's like 80 something. And the other interesting thing is that Lucy dislikes her father, which hasn't really come across. Like, she's written letters to her mom mentioning like, don't say anything to dad, but I don't think it's directly come across. But that's the first time that really comes up. And then yeah, I think that's all like the super important stuff. Oh, also Mara Jane. Mara Jane's like 21 or 20. She's pretty, everyone's young and happy and whatnot, except for like the old men who are probably in their 30s. And then Makarov is like ancient of days. All right, so, and then that it mentions again that she used to be an active member of like a squad going out and doing quests and stuff, but then she stopped, and that her magic is transformation magic, and that she's kind of like the poster child for the guild because she's so beautiful and perfect proportions and everything. So fun stuff. All right, there you go. Volume 4. So I will go ahead, like, share, subscribe, comment, and I will catch you guys later. Bye.